The NFC feels like it is quietly turning into a battlefield. And when you listen closely to the whispers around the league, one name keeps surfacing in conversations that feel half rumor, half warning: TREVON Diggs. The idea of the Eagles positioning themselves to make a bold move for a cornerback of that caliber has started to circulate in the same tone usually reserved for seismic shifts, the kind that do not just tweak a roster but completely alter how opponents prepare on a weekly basis. From the outside, it sounds almost too aggressive. Yet inside league circles, the speculation carries weight because Philadelphia has shown time and again that it is not afraid to swing big when it believes a championship window is wide open. The chatter suggests that this is less about replacing someone and more about transforming the identity of an already dangerous defense. Imagine a unit that already thrives on pressure now adding a ball hawk who can flip momentum in a single snap. That is the kind of possibility that keeps offensive coordinators awake at night. The rumor gains fuel because the Eagles' front office is known for operating quietly, letting speculation swirl while they calculate every angle. If this pursuit is real, it signals a belief that the NFC is there for the taking, and that one decisive move could separate contenders from pretenders in a conference. That feels increasingly unforgiving as the speculation deepens. The conversation naturally shifts toward what TREVON Diggs represents beyond just his stat sheet. Around the league, his reputation is polarizing. And that is exactly what makes this rumor so fascinating. Some see a fearless corner who thrives on anticipation and aggression, willing to gamble for a takeaway even if it means living on the edge. Others see risk, a defender who invites throws his way because quarterbacks believe they can beat him deep, but within the context of the Eagles. Those traits take on a different meaning. Philadelphia's defensive philosophy has long been rooted in pressure up front, trusting the chaos created in the pocket to force hurried decisions. In that environment, a corner like Diggs is not just a defender. He is a predator waiting for mistakes. The rumor suggests that the Eagles are intrigued by the idea of pairing relentless pass rush with a secondary that can capitalize instantly. It is not hard to imagine how that combination could tilt games before halftime, changing scripts and forcing opponents into desperation mode. The speculation also hints that the Eagles believe their coaching staff can harness Diggs' instincts, refining his approach without dulling the edge that makes him special. If that confidence is real, the potential impact goes far beyond one player. What makes this rumor even louder is the ripple effect it would create across the NFC landscape. Teams do not just prepare for the Eagles as they are. They would have to reimagine how to attack them entirely. Quarterbacks who once targeted certain matchups might suddenly hesitate, holding the ball longer, which only feeds into Philadelphia's strength up front. The speculation paints a picture of a conference where margins are razor thin, and a single turnover can swing playoff positioning. In that environment, acquiring a defender known for generating takeaways feels like a calculated gamble, rather than a reckless one. The whispers suggest that rival teams are already taking this possibility seriously, not because it is confirmed, but because it fits a pattern. The Eagles have a history of identifying moments when the conference is vulnerable and striking decisively. Adding Diggs would not just be about stopping opponents. It would be about sending a message that Philadelphia intends to dictate terms in a conference filled with talented offenses. That psychological edge matters. The rumor gains credibility because it aligns with how contenders think when they believe the path to a deep postseason run is within reach. Another layer to this speculation lies in the human element. The idea of how a change of scenery could redefine a player's narrative. TREVON Diggs, if the whispers are to be believed, might benefit as much from the move as the Eagles would. In Philadelphia, expectations are intense, but so is the support structure. The city embraces players who play with swagger and confidence, and Diggs has never lacked either. The rumor mill suggests that the Eagles see an opportunity to unlock a version of Diggs that feels both freer and more disciplined. A balance that could elevate his game, surrounded by veterans and a culture that demands accountability. The gamble becomes more palatable. This is not about chasing headlines, it is about fit. The speculation hints that the Eagles believe Diggs' aggressive style would be embraced, rather than suppressed, allowing him to play instinctively while trusting that the scheme will protect him. That kind of environment can change careers. If this move were to happen, it would not just be a transaction. It would be a statement about belief in player development and system synergy. Those ideas resonate deeply in a league where talent alone is never enough. As the rumor continues to circulate, Fans and analysts alike start projecting the domino effects. What does this mean for divisional rivals who already view the Eagles as a measuring stick? The speculation suggests that teams would be forced to adjust personnel decisions of their own, seeking answers to a defense that suddenly feels more opportunistic and unforgiving. In the NFC, where parity is often discussed but rarely felt, a move like this could create a clear hierarchy. The Eagles would not just be strong, they would be intimidating. The rumor thrives because it taps into that fear. The idea that one franchise might be positioning itself to control the narrative for the foreseeable future, even without confirmation. The mere possibility forces conversations in front offices across the conference. Coaches would be asked how to counter a defense that can beat you in multiple ways. Quarterbacks would be warned about risks they once felt comfortable taking. That is the power of speculation when it is rooted in plausibility. The Eagles chasing Diggs feels believable because it aligns with ambition, timing, and philosophy, all converging at a moment when the NFC feels ripe for disruption. By the time you reach the deeper layers of this rumor, it becomes clear that this is about more than a single player or a single season. The speculation frames the Eagles as a franchise thinking strategically about windows and leverage. Adding a corner like Diggs would not just impact immediate matchups. It would influence how young quarterbacks develop when facing Philadelphia, how offensive coordinators script early drives, and how late-game decisions are made under pressure. The whispers suggest that the Eagles see value in forcing opponents to play from behind mentally, as much as on the scoreboard. A defense that can generate sudden momentum shifts changes the emotional rhythm of a game. That is why this rumor refuses to fade. It captures the imagination because it feels like a chess move rather than a reaction. Whether it happens or not, the conversation itself underscores how seriously the Eagles are viewed within the NFC. When a team reaches a point where even speculative moves cause league-wide reactions, it speaks volumes about their status. In the second wave of speculation, the narrative expands to how such a move could redefine playoff matchups before they even materialize. The idea of the Eagles entering the postseason with a secondary headline by TREVON Diggs fuels endless what-if scenarios. Analysts imagine games where a single interception flips home field dynamics, where momentum swings so violently that crowd noise becomes a factor in visiting team breakdowns. The rumor suggests that Philadelphia understands the postseason is not always about consistency, but about moments. Diggs, for all the debate surrounding his style, is undeniably a player who creates moments. The Eagles, according to the whispers, are chasing that volatility because they believe their roster can absorb the risks. In a conference where many teams play it safe, choosing to embrace a high-impact defender feels like a philosophical statement. The speculation paints the Eagles as a team willing to lean into chaos, trusting their preparation and depth to manage the fallout. That approach can be terrifying for opponents who rely on rhythm and precision. Another angle gaining traction in these discussions is how this potential move could influence the locker room dynamic. The rumor mill suggests that the Eagles value personalities that bring confidence and edge, especially on defense. Diggs fits that mold perfectly. His presence could energize a unit that already feeds off emotion and intensity. The speculation hints that leadership within the team believes adding a vocal, expressive defender could raise the collective standard, pushing teammates to match that confidence. In Philadelphia, that kind of energy often translates into home field dominance, where emotion becomes an extension of the scheme. Critics might worry about clashes or ego, but the rumor suggests the Eagles see those traits as manageable, even beneficial. They believe structure and culture can channel individuality into performance. If that belief holds, the addition of Diggs would be less about adjustment and more about amplification. The defense would not need to reinvent itself. It would simply turn the volume up. The broader NFC context makes this rumor even more compelling. The conference feels crowded with teams that are good but not overwhelming, creating an environment where a single upgrade can tilt the balance. The speculation suggests that the Eagles recognize this and are positioning themselves accordingly by targeting a player like Diggs. They are not just responding to rivals, they are attempting to leap ahead of them. The whispers frame this as a proactive strike, designed to force others into reaction mode. That is often how dynasties begin, with moves that seem bold in the moment but obvious in hindsight. The rumor resonates because it fits that narrative arc. Fans imagine future matchups where Diggs' presence changes how games are remembered, where a key takeaway becomes the defining image of a playoff run, whether fair or not. That imagination fuels belief in the rumor's potential truth as discussions continue. The financial and strategic layers of this speculation also come into focus. The rumor suggests that the Eagles are adept at structuring moves that maximize value without crippling flexibility. That reputation adds credibility to any talk of acquiring a high-profile defender. Observers speculate that Philadelphia sees this as a calculated risk, one that aligns with their long-term planning rather than contradicts it. The idea is not to mortgage the future, but to invest in a present that feels uniquely promising. In that sense, the Diggs rumor becomes a symbol of confidence. It suggests a front office comfortable enough with its foundation to add a volatile but potentially transformative piece in the NFC, where hesitation can be costly. That confidence alone can be an advantage. Opponents sense it, and that awareness seeps into preparation and mindset. Ultimately, this rumor persists because it captures the essence of competitive ambition. The Eagles chasing TREVON Diggs feels like a story about seizing opportunity, about recognizing when the margins are thin and deciding to push. Anyway, the speculation does not need confirmation to matter, because its impact is already being felt in conversations, projections, and expectations. Fans debate it passionately, rivals monitor it nervously, and analysts dissect it endlessly. That is the mark of a rumor with real weight, whether it becomes reality or fades into off-season lore. The idea itself reinforces the perception of the Eagles as a franchise unafraid to challenge the balance of power in a conference defined by uncertainty. That willingness to disrupt may be the most powerful statement of all. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. The rumor refuses to slow down because it taps into something deeper than roster construction. It speaks to fear and anticipation across the NFC. When people around the league quietly bring up the possibility of TREVON Diggs lining up in an Eagles uniform, the reaction is rarely neutral. There is always a pause, followed by a recalibration of expectations. That alone tells you how powerful this speculation has become. The idea of Philadelphia adding another difference maker on defense feels like overkill to some, but to others it feels like inevitability. The Eagles are seen as a franchise that strikes when others hesitate, and the whispers suggest this is exactly that kind of moment. Coaches imagine game plans shrinking, quarterbacks imagine throwing windows closing faster, and fan bases imagine their team suddenly needing to be perfect to survive. This is how rumors turn into pressure. Even before anything actually happens, the NFC has always been about timing, and the speculation implies the Eagles believe their timing is right now. That belief, real or imagined, creates a psychological advantage that cannot be measured on paper but is felt every Sunday. What keeps fueling the conversation is how seamlessly this potential move fits into the larger story of dominance and response. Every strong team in the conference is constantly searching for the next adjustment, the next counter. The rumor suggests the Eagles are not waiting to be countered. They are choosing to escalate. TREVON Diggs represents escalation. He represents risk embraced rather than avoided. In a league where many defenses are built to survive, the idea here is to attack, to dictate, to force mistakes instead of reacting to them. That philosophy resonates with how Philadelphia has built its identity in recent years. The speculation frames Diggs not as a luxury, but as a weapon designed to exploit hesitation. If quarterbacks are forced to question their reads, even for a heartbeat, the entire defensive structure benefits. This is why the rumor feels so dangerous for the rest of the NFC. It suggests a team that understands momentum is not random. It is manufactured through pressure, confidence, and belief. In the end, whether this move ever materializes almost feels secondary to what the rumor already reveals. It reveals how the Eagles are perceived and how they perceive themselves. A franchise does not get linked to game-changing players by accident. That happens when ambition is obvious and credibility is established. The speculation around TREVON Diggs is a reflection of that status. It paints a picture of a team looking at the conference and seeing opportunity rather than obstacles. For fans, it sparks imagination. For rivals, it sparks anxiety. For the league, it reinforces the idea that the balance of power in the NFC is fragile and constantly shifting. Rumors like this thrive because they feel plausible, because they align with patterns we have seen before, and as long as they continue to circulate, they will shape expectations, conversations, and confidence levels across the conference. Even without a single official word being spoken, that's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you Want the fastest Eagles updates? Subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.